All right, let's get into our second episode of Trump versus Trump. This might be the last episode. The way this started is yesterday I was going to do a segment just sort of reminding ourselves Trump used to be for use whichever bathroom you want. Then he went to this anti-trans insanity. He used to be for this, now he's against it. And we had so many examples that I ended up just splitting it up into two parts, the second of which is today. Remember that part of this is, what will Trump's next term be like? And as we ask, well, what policies is he going to focus on? He's talked a lot about tariffs and doing things about, quote, men and women's sports. These seem to be his obsessions. We never really know what he's going to do. And the reminder that's critical here as we look at some of these videos is that Trump's taken both sides, or many sides, on multiple issues over the years. And part of it is pandering. Part of it is he doesn't even know what he believes in some cases. Let's look at some reminders. Here is Trump after the Parkland shooting saying guns should be confiscated without due process. What you're going to hear in this clip is former Vice President Mike Pence, the one that MAGAs wanted to kill, saying we figured out a way to take guns from people who shouldn't have them with due process. And Trump goes, sometimes you just got to take them. I know that this will shock some people, but here is Trump. Take a listen.
Well, in the category, you've spoken about it, Mr. President, gun violence restraining orders, they're called. California actually has a version of this. And I think in your meeting with governors earlier this week, individually and as a group, we spoke about states taking steps, but the focus is to literally give families and give local law enforcement additional tools if an individual is reported to be a potential danger to themselves or others. And allow due process so that no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession of that individual.
Or might take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system. Because a lot of times, by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early.
Take the guns now, Mike. Just take the guns. It is stunning that at some point not that long ago, that was Trump's view. Of course, then we have Trump speaking to the NRA, where he says, roll back every damn gun control policy.
In my second term, we will roll back every Biden attack on the Second Amendment. The attacks are fast and furious, starting the minute that Crooked Joe shuffles his way out of the White House.
The guy that previously said, take guns from people with no due process, is then saying, we've got to roll back every single one of these damn regulations. It's Trump versus Trump. Remember Trump famously telling Howard Stern, yeah, I support going into Iraq. Absolutely.
Really don't know the enemy.
I know they're skulking around somewhere and you just feel like you're a sitting duck.
But we have an idea who the enemy is, and a lot of times the politicians don't want to tell you that.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
Right. Are you still against rebuilding the World Trade Center?
I'm not against rebuilding it. I guess.
So Trump says, yeah. I mean, I wish it had been done differently the first time, but I am for invading Iraq. And then Trump in 26 campaigned on, I was never for going into Iraq. He would straight up lie every time it came up and say, never, 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 not me, never did it. Never said it.
Mr. Trump, a lot of these are judgment questions. You had supported the war in Iraq before the invasion. What makes your judgment?
I did not support the war in Iraq.
2002.
That is a mainstream media nonsense put out by her, because she, frankly, I think the best person in her campaign is mainstream media.
My question is, since you
would you like to
supported
hear?
it, why is your
war. Wait a minute. I was against the war in Iraq.
And of course, he wasn't against the war in Iraq. He said it to Howard Stern, and he said it in other places. He became against the war retrospectively as a way to criticize George W. Bush and that brand of republicanism and justify why someone should consider him as the nominee rather than maybe a more traditional Republican back in 2015, 2016. He'll just lie about whatever. Here's one more. Same-sex marriage. I'm completely fine with it, he used to say.
One of the groups that's expressing fear is the LGBTQ group. And yet I mentioned them at the Republican National Convention. And everybody said, that was so great. I have been, I've been a supporter.
Well, I guess the issue for them is marriage equality. Do you support marriage equality?
It's irrelevant because it was already settled. It's law. It was settled in the Supreme Court.
Okay. So then we get to, not the strongest support, but he says, I'm fine with gay people and I have no interest in doing anything about that. Then here is Trump later on talking about how, oh, actually, I am for traditional marriage, if you really ask me.
Let's talk about same-sex marriage. You said a few years ago that you were evolving on that issue. Where are you?
I'm traditional marriage. It is changing rapidly.
But what do you say to a lesbian who's married or a gay man who's married who says, Donald Trump, what's traditional about being married 3 times?
Well, they have a very good point. But, I've been a very hard-working person. I have a great marriage. I have a great wife now. And my 2 wives were very good. And I don't blame them. But I was working.
All right, you get the point. So he's a traditional marriage guy. I will kind of wrap this, and we could do this for months. I'm not going to do it to you. I know it's a little, it's a little gag worthy to continue doing this every single day. But I think between yesterday's examples and today's, the primary takeaway is we may not even really be able to know what he personally thinks. I don't even know that sometimes Trump has fully formed ideas about some of this stuff. He'll just kind of go with whatever someone most recently told him or what someone whispered to him 5 minutes before he went on stage. It's actually irrelevant. It doesn't matter. What matters is how is he going to legislate. He has made it clear whatever Trump's real view is about trans people, he's apparently friends with Caitlyn Jenner or whatever Trump defines as friends, and Caitlyn gets to use whatever bathroom she wants when she's at Mar-a-Lago. Cool. What matters is how he's going to govern. And if he's really going to start launching people out of the military for being trans on day one, as reports claim he's going to do, if he is really going to start targeting women's bodily and medical autonomy, as he says that he's going to do, all these different things. What matters is how he governs. He might be pro-choice in private. He might be pro-same-sex marriage in private, whatever. What matters is how he is going to govern. And that's really the terrifying thing. This holiday season, after that insane election we just had, where you might be feeling like it's the end of the world, it's good to take time to slow down, enjoy time with loved ones, and here is a great way to do it. Doomlings, a delightful card game for the end of the world. Doomlings is a really funny new card game for 2 to 6 players. The game doesn't really focus on doom and gloom or the end of the world. It's just about having fun with people you love. The game only takes 5 minutes to learn. The rules are on the cards, easy to pick up even for kids, and suitable for anybody 10 and up. The game started on Kickstarter just a few years ago, went totally viral. Doomlings is now available at Target and Walmart, but if you go to doomlings.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman, you'll get 15% off. Grab yourself a copy of the game. I've had a ton of fun playing it. Hilarious, guaranteed to make it a great time with family and friends. The link is in the description.